Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode, that's right, of your favorite weekly sports podcast show. This is Sideline Banter, and I'm your host, Cooper Pose. Joined with me, as always, my co-host, Weston Murphy. Behind the camera, we got our producer, Spencer Steinke, and we are very excited to bring you guys another electrifying episode of Sideline Banter. After an exciting NFL draft last week, exciting first round of playoffs in the NBA have concluded. Now we are on to the semis. Been a good couple weeks in sports. Weston, how you feeling today? What are your thoughts about, everything going on right now so far?
Definitely like that you dropped electrifying. That's dope. Gets me in the spirit, despite the fact that I'm kind of, I'm missing football a little bit, I mean, we had the draft last week, and it gives you that taste of the new season is upon us, and it's just like, damn, I wish I was watching games already now that I know the teams that these players are on for the upcoming season. We saw some of our favorite players go where we thought they would in the mock draft. And then I think overall, both you and I would say we did pretty happy with our draft results.
They were pretty
as far as mock draft.
Yeah,
as well
given that we didn't really do it, like trading the picks and everything, I feel like you guys did pretty good.
Some of the picks were pretty accurate. And if they weren't the exact picks, some of them were same position, just different.
Yeah, we
players.
Definitely we placed a lot of precedence that there was definitely going to be a lot of movement and that we couldn't predict the trades and what have you. But I think for the most part, we did a good job at predicting what we could, despite not knowing what was going to happen trade-wise.
There were a lot of trades in this year's draft.
Yeah, a lot of big surprises as well. I mean, we didn't even see Will Levis go in the first round. I think there was a less than 1% chance that he wouldn't go in the first round. But I also, as far as our mock drafts doing well, I think both of us could say we're pretty happy with how our teams did respectively. Steelers and Cowboys, I think, were two of the bigger winners in the draft so far. To this point, I think that two teams that did a better job, honestly.
Yeah, Steelers had a really solid draft. Cowboys, from what I'm aware of, had a pretty solid draft as well. But before we get to any more, don't forget to follow us at _Sideline Banter on Instagram and Twitter, on YouTube at Sideline Banter. New episodes every Thursday at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or anywhere you listen to podcasts as well. We appreciate you guys weekly for listening to us. We see that the download numbers are going up. And, we appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving us. Football season is almost here. We're very excited. Yeah, let's get right to it. Why don't we go ahead, Murph, and jump into Sweeping the Socials. We appreciate you guys again, as always, for being a part of Sweeping the Socials with us. Only one person saw the prompt, really. It was kind of my fault. I didn't specify enough on the post, I think. But shout out James McGee for giving us his best and worst draft picks.
Who would have thought?
The genius. Probably the greatest guest we've ever had as well. We had him on.
You're doing a disservice. We've had all great guests.
We've had great guests.
You know what?
Everybody has.
James doesn't deserve to be the best at something for once in his life. So I'm going to say he's not our best guest.
Yeah, we have to admit, James, when he was on with us,
he's a dog.
He was saying some things that made me and Weston look at each other and we're like, oh my god, maybe we should just have him run the show, huh?
He's a professional.
But thank you guys again as always for being a part of the Sweeping Socials, and we're looking forward to answering some questions tonight.
Yeah, so Coop and I wanted to go ahead and start the night off by doing like a draft recap and go ahead and review. Obviously, we did the mock drafts last week, and you could find those on our Instagram pages. So you want to go ahead and compare what happened in the actual draft to what we guessed in the first round. But we wanted to go ahead and take a pulse of the people. Just like me and Cooper mentioned, we're pretty happy with how our teams did. So we wanted to know how you guys felt your guys' teams did as well. So we got a few responses about the draft in particular. Pretty much people asking to go about their teams. Will Perez, he wants to know. Will _Perez 15. How do we feel about how the Seattle Seahawks did this year?
You want to go ahead and start, or you want me to go?
I got to go ahead and find them real quick on the list so I can know exactly what they did. But
I'll go ahead and get a crack. And then I was a fan of their draft specifically because of one draft pick, because of the Smith and Jigba first round pick. A big fan of that. He reminds me a lot of Tyler Lockett, the way that he plays. He's a really solid slot receiver as well. Just another target for Seattle to get for Geno Smith too, which obviously Geno Smith, whose career hasn't really been very Geno Smith really, who hasn't been relevant since he got drafted honestly. And I mean that with the most respect because he was pretty much a glorified backup up until last season.
Oh, he was relevant when he got in a fight and got his jaw broken.
That is also a fact as well. But I really like that pick for them, especially considering that as Tyler Lockett is still playing very well. He probably is near the end of his career in Seattle. Probably a couple more years. DK, who's obviously
beast,
fantastic. I really like it specifically because if Geno keeps playing the way that he is playing and Smith and Jigba plays as well as we know he's capable of playing and how he played in Ohio State, he's just going to be pretty much primed and ready for whatever quarterback they do eventually bring in to be their next franchise guy. So that is the pick that really stood out to me the most. I don't love their draft completely though because they did draft his name is slipping my mind, but they drafted the running back from UCLA,
Charbonnet.
Yeah, Charbonnet. And
Charbonnet, yep.
I don't like that because Carroll has already come out and said that him and Walker are going to be competing for the starting job in training camp. Considering Walker had a pretty stellar rookie season last year, only playing, I don't even think he played 10 full games last year. That to me is a little interesting just because I didn't think the running back position was something of need for Seattle, especially considering their running backs haven't really been very well that they've drafted over the years. Rashad Penny, who they wasted a first-round pick on.
Rashad Penny was good.
He was decent.
When he was healthy.
He was decent, but
they've had injury problems at running back.
I was
going to
say I literally had his name in my head, but I just completely forgot. He had the neck injury. 32. He was a dog when he was healthy. Played for Seattle.
Oh, yeah, from Texas. I forget his name.
He's another one who he was decent, and then he finally started playing good, and then he started getting hurt. So, to me, the running back position I don't think was something of importance for them to draft, but overall, just based off of their first-round pick, I really liked it.
Oh, no, I'm really excited with what the Seahawks did because I definitely think in a young defensive backfield, which this is a team that's used to having that when they had the Legion of Boom back in the day, they had a loaded secondary, and that proved to be one of the things that propelled them to the top is they had dogs in that secondary that could make plays. We still forget they have Jamal Adams on the back end, but they also added Tyreek Woolen last year, who's looking like he's going to be up next as far as those top corners in the league that are young. They go ahead and add Devin Witherspoon to be on the other side of him out of Illinois, and he's a dog. Like his comp is, he's going to play long-rangey, corner, but he's also going to be probably a guy that can play on the island as well. So I definitely agree with you as well. I think that they grabbed probably, a lot of people's number one wide receiver, and they got him at 20.
After 2 running backs,
Yeah, they also got McIntosh out of Georgia, and that I think is a testament to what they're going to try and do out of this year is they're not going to put as much on Geno because I think down the stretch, that's where they got in trouble is because they had to really put a lot of the games on Geno to be able to, throw 35 to 40 passes a game and really, win the game on Geno's back. And I don't think that's the type of quarterback that Geno is. He's never been that guy. So I think when we saw it when Kenneth Walker was injured last year, it really, really hurt them. So I think that they know, like you said, Chris Carson was the running back that you were.
Yep.
They've had a lot of injury problems at running back before, and we saw already Kenneth Walker, no doubt, had an amazing season, but he already got injured. So what is I really, support what they did by doing the 2 running backs. It gives them a stable of running backs and 2 rookie guys that they could put a lot of wear and tear on. And if they are able to take Geno into the playoffs where it gets crunch time, they can use Kenneth Walker, who's going to be a healthy Kenneth Walker, opposed to, just one running back where they're relying on him and he's not, he's already run the ball 150 times and he's damn near, gassed by the time they make it to the playoffs. And I think that these are 2 really equipped running backs that can take a lot of carries off of his back when it comes down to it. And they have Smith and Jigba that's going to fit in the slot, I think, so perfectly. We saw so many, deep ball touchdowns from Lockett and Russ back in the day. And obviously we've seen Geno be able to, do the kind of the same thing last year when they had the most efficient offense in the league. And I think Smith and Jigba creates a lot of matchups on the inside that are going to be really, really difficult to cover. I think it's going to end up being a really good, first round for the Seahawks with what they did. And I think they just added a lot of depth on the back end. They were able to get good players that played a lot at good schools. You draft from UCLA, LSU, Mississippi State, Michigan, another Michigan player, and then a Georgia player to wrap it up. That's like a lot of guys that have played a lot of big time important football. I really think that they did pretty well adding a lot of depth and in areas of need where if this team does want to make a push in a division that's not very, very strong right now, besides the 49ers, obviously, if they want to get into the, the postseason in a wild card type of spot in an NFC that's really not that strong anymore comparatively to the AFC, this is the type of, depth you need to add and be able to say, if we're going to run the ball and be a team that's committed to running the ball, we're going to need 2 running backs to take the load off of our number 1 guy.
I agree, and I didn't realize that they had drafted that second running back. So that
McIntosh, he played at Georgia. He has a ring. He got some important carries in the 7th round. That's a good value.
Yeah, that honestly makes me agree with you. Obviously, what I'm about to say is that they are really going to try and be more ground and pound this season and have Geno really only need to be Geno in moments that they truly need the passing game to be successful. I would imagine they're probably going to use a lot of play action work as well.
Exactly, because that's what worked last year.
Yeah, and play action, in my opinion, if you're a football team that can execute the play action very well, then you can win a lot of games. I mean,
obviously, 49ers are the testament to that.
49ers and the Rams for years, even
facts.
with Goff.
Big facts.
Where they used to play. McVay loves
They'll gash you on the play action.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't be surprised.
Throw screens off of play.
I mean, so does Matt Canada, but that offense just doesn't work. So, should this year, hopefully. We'll see.
I love the left tackle, bro. He's a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I saw some clips of him run blocking.
We got damn near 2 left tackles. Because we got Washington.
Oh, yep. Dude. Yeah, he's going to be insane. Yeah, Naj is fucking licking his chops.
Naj was probably very lit.
Hopefully he can stay healthy, because I think this is a big year for him, because you guys fucking bolstered the whole offensive line. And
it's a big year for our whole offense, honestly. This is be a big year.
All the pieces are in place, pretty much.
Other than Canada. Canada's literally the only question mark.
Oh,
Kenny obviously is still the question mark, but like
now that there's linemen, there's not as much an excuse.
He played. That's what I'm saying. So if he played good enough last year to not be, I think it's just more like question mark, because is he still the franchise quarterback?
Yeah, he just has to
that's
keep
what I mean. Like
better.
it's kind of more like, is he going to continue to show that he's still the franchise?
As long
guy?
as he doesnn't regress after what happened, I mean, he'll be fine.
I think he'll be fine. It's literally Matt Canada's the biggest question mark.
100%, because if he can't get it done, they're gonna realize real quick. But
he's gonna be gone.
Hopefully, gosh. All right, good question. Will Perez, obviously wondering about his Seahawks, that's for sure. David Kratt, he wants to know, he thinks that the Bears did a pretty damn good job. What do you guys think about what the Bears did? And I know off the top of my head, I know they drafted a lineman in the 1st round, I believe, which is not that big of a surprise.
They got Darnell Wright, 1st round from Tennessee.
Yes, sir. So you got a guy that's played a lot of football, Darnell Wright. I'm pretty sure he didn't give up any sacks over an extended period of time, like 300 plus snaps. He's definitely a versatile offensive line that's a plug-and-play player. That's the type of guy that you need in the Chicago Bears system right now, especially in front of Fields, who got
they went
pressured.
Very defensive heavy as well, which personally I'm always a fan of because of the NFL now. It's besides last year when the scoring was down considerably, how it usually is. I love when teams go defensive heavy. I am to think I'm just a defensive guy. When the Super Bowl a couple years ago with the Rams and Patriots, when it was that super low scoring game and everybody was complaining about it, I was a fan of it because personally I don't mind it. Defensive slug match where you're seeing whose offense is going to find a way to make a big play and make a big splash and make literally one play could be all that matters in a game when it's really great defenses. So to me, seeing a team really bolster their defense through the draft, get a lot of these young, talented guys, that to me I'm a fan of. I think they maybe should have gone a little more offensive side, considering their offense, to me at least. I don't follow the Bears super hardcore. I know their defense isn't fantastic, but I know it's not horrible. To me, you have a guy who you're clearly saying is your franchise guy, considering you traded the number 1 pick away in Justin Fields, and you only used 3 of their, 10 draft picks on offensive guys. That to me is a little questionable. And they didn't even get their first offensive guy other than Darnell Wright until it looks like the 3rd or until the 4th round, actually, which was Rashawn Johnson, the running back out of Texas, who I think is
Huge
a good
steal.
pick. He's a dog.
Roshan's a fucking dog. That's who I wanted the Cowboys to get.
I don't
to
know
kinda
much about
replace
Tyler
Zeke.
Scott, wide receiver from Cincinnati, but still, to me, I think you need to go a little more offense. They do have a couple first round picks next year from the Carolina trade, so maybe that's what they're waiting on. Maybe they're waiting as well to see if Chase Claypool with the year in that offense will be better, especially with Mooney. I know they have Komet, who's kind of shown flashes, but to me, still, it's if.
You're forgetting DJ Moore though. They're set.
Oh, they do have DJ Moore now, huh?
Yeah, so they're chilling. That's why I really like what they did in the draft. I think the defense was a liability all year last year, despite the fact that Justin Fields was obviously running around for his life a lot of the
Another
season.
offensive lineman would have made it a little better, in my opinion.
100%. I think that would have been my one gripe here, is that I think that you do need another offensive lineman, but you're really getting old at the positions that you're good at on defense, and other than that, you don't really.
Noah Sewell too from Oregon. That's a steal.
Yeah, I know. That was one of my favorite pickups too.
Round 5.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know. I thought he was pretty good, but
Wow, he fell.
that's what. Yeah, I thought he would have gone a little bit higher. Either way, yeah, I think what they did is good. They added a lot of depth and young depth on their defense, which I think they needed, because the positions they're good at on defense are getting a little aged, and where they're kind of lacking, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to not bring in a young guy that's going to either press the guy that's there in their position to work harder, knowing they have someone nipping at their heels, or, you know, these guys, a lot of these guys that we see drafted here, they could have a shot of actually getting a lot of decent playing time next year, just because the Bears are a really young nucleus. But I like what they have on offense right now as far as their weapons. Like, I think that adding DJ Moore makes them a lot more balanced now. Claypool is able to be that second wide receiver, which we saw him kind of flourish at in Pittsburgh, which gave him the opportunity to get, you know, traded to another team when he was unhappy, because he did still have that value because of how he performed. And I think adding DJ Moore puts, you know, a little bit less pressure on him. And then obviously you have Mooney there as well. I was mixing them up, but
Ronnie?
Him in the slot working primarily should be pretty good. I think that will be with Komet as well. I don't know. We'll see about this Tyler Scott kid, but obviously you lose David Montgomery. I think Roshan Johnson fits exactly where he, you know, is no longer going to get those carries. The Bears are an interesting team. I think that, like you said, that they still have picks next year, which I think are going to be really important, because I think despite the players that they added, they still have a little bit of ways to go, and it's going to be a little bit of a rocky climb. But I think anticipating that Fields makes the growth that he needs to, adding a tackle and hopefully a better defense around him and a little bit more weapons, that he takes the next step, shows that he's the guy, and you can go ahead and add depth and more talent around him next year with those picks that you're able to utilize. And the Bears might be on the uptick. Who knows, you know?
We'll see. That division is literally wide open since Rodgers is gone.
Kirk Cousins is licking his chops, baby. He could do it.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. I think he knows there's some added pressure as well. I did see that he was quoted saying that he understands and has realized that he still has to prove that he deserves to be Minnesota's quarterback. And Minnesota is a team that we all know they've been pretty fantastic regular season-wise consistently, but they've never been able to really make any noise in the playoffs, and I think it's I don't want to say it's obvious because it's a team game, but Kirk Cousins usually is the main focal point of why they can't seem to make it far in the playoffs.
It's an easy excuse.
It's an easy excuse. And honestly, the quarterback position, quarterback play is usually the first excuse.
Yeah, it's always.
If your team doesn't go far or isn't good. So I think he knows that he's under a little bit of pressure, considering he's also been paid $1 billion to play quarterback.
Hey, his agent's a dog. That's no sweat off our back, bro.
So
we can't do nothing about that.
Yeah, that division is wide open, and that's the division I think I don't want to say most excited to watch, but definitely one that I'm going to keep my eyes on, especially through the rest of the offseason.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an intriguing situation. But shout out David Kratt for. I mean, we probably wouldn't have talked any Bears talk.
Yeah, shout out David, shout out John Allen, another Bears fan.
Enjoy our little synopsis of the draft. Hopefully you guys are happy with it. Next question. We'll go ahead and reference it just because we have to. Evan wants to know what we think of the Los Angeles Horned Frogs.
What is that?
They drafted Max Duggan.
Oh yeah, they drafted
and Quentin Johnson.
That's right.
So they took two TCU Horned Frogs
players. I'm surprised they didn't draft LT's nephew.
Who's that?
His nephew. Actually, they might have, because I think I remember seeing like a graphic that
All right, Los Angeles Chargers. They selected Quentin Johnston out of TCU with their first round pick. They got Spencer's boy out of USC, Tuli Tuipulotu.
Tuli Tuipulotu.
Tuli Tuipulotu. Tuli Tuipulotu. And that's the guy. But they also got, in round 3, really good value. I really like this guy, Diane Henley, out of Washington State. Originally was a quarterback at Nevada. Transferred to wide receiver. Wasn't really getting a lot of looks at receiver. He ended up gaining weight and moved to linebacker. Played 1 year at a linebacker out of Nevada. Had a pretty decent season. Ended up being good enough to transfer to Washington State as a grad transfer. Had 5 interceptions in his senior season at Washington State. Was an absolute dog. I think it really benefits him being a former quarterback and offensive player at receiver. He sees the defense. He sees the offense a little bit differently. Has a little bit of a higher understanding. I think that they drafted this guy out of a 3rd round to make some pressure, dude. I think he might end up being a pretty good player in this league. He's got really good pass coverage skills, and he has, a little bit of a higher sense about what's going on behind him, just because he knows route concepts and what have you, being a former quarterback and wide receiver. So I'm a big fan of what they did right there in the 3rd round. It really looks good to me. And then, in round 4, they go Darius Davis, another TCU Horned Frog wide receiver. So that's another player from the same position in the same group as Quentin Johnston. And then they go ahead and take Jordan McFadden at Clemson. That's a good pick for me, value-wise. Tackle that played a lot of football at a good school. Honestly, I think it was a deep lineman draft for the most part. Scott Matlock out of Boise State. Don't know shit about him. And then they got Max Duggan in the 7th round, which I think is absolutely hilarious, because I'm not going to lie, that was a player that I was just crossing my fingers that Jerry Jones did not fucking pick, because I honestly
forgot that he was in the draft until I saw his name.
100%. I mean, good for him.
Not to disrespect him in any means. I just didn't realize it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, good for... I thought he had another year. Honestly, in college, I would have been...
Kind of wild that he got 2nd in Heisman voting, and he barely got drafted.
Yeah, I mean, he could prove some people wrong, but I don't think he has...
Not with the Chargers.
I don't think he has a lot of potential in the NFL, if I'm going to be honest.
Did Stetson Bennett get drafted?
Yeah, to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Rams. That's one of my steals, bro. I think he's going to be...
How would you not know that?
Dog.
They're your favorite team.
They're not my favorite team.
Yeah, you're a Rams fan.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking of Tre'Vius Hodges Tomlinson. He actually got drafted to the Rams too. That's LT's nephew. Plays corner.
Okay.
But
yeah, what do you think? I'm not hating on the Chargers draft personally. I don't like what they did in the 1st round. I'm not a big fan of Quentin Johnston myself. I don't think he's going to be very good. I've said it on this show before.
Yeah, you've said it multiple times.
I think his comp is Kevin White. He's the exact same player to me.
I wonder who his comparison was.
He runs a lot of vertical routes. He doesn't run very much else than that. And Tom Telesco is preaching, who's the Chargers general manager. They got him for his yards after catch ability, and for what he did. I guess apparently he was the leader in yards after catch in FBS last year, which is cool. But you also play in the Big Ten, so you play in one of the worst tackling and worst defensive leagues in college football.
NFL comparison, according to NFL.com, is Alshon Jeffrey.
I think he's faster than Alshon Jeffrey, but he doesn't have that physical presence as Alshon Jeffrey. I don't think he's boxing you out in the corner of the end zone to go for a jump ball. I don't think he's catching a dig over the middle in the red zone against a linebacker and a safety playing in between. He sees me. I see him as a player that runs a skinny post down the middle of the field, splits the safeties where he runs a vertical route by you. And then if his 3rd route is to run a curl route off of either of those, I don't see him being a very good fit in this offense either, as far as next to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. I just don't think I think you needed a guy like Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison in this offense.
I agree. I was thinking they were going Jordan Addison based off my mock draft, obviously, because I
thought it was Zay Flowers 100%. I was close.
They don't really have... Yes, Quentin Johnston has a lot of yak, which I understand. He's not the fastest. I thought they were going to go somewhere like Zay Flowers or, again, Jordan Addison, just strictly based off the fact that, up to my knowledge, they don't really have that breakaway speed, catch a drag route or catch a slant route in the middle of the field. And
That's what they think this guy's
break
gonna
the two
be.
defenders and
That's
literally
what they think
outrun
he's gonna
everybody.
be.
And I just don't see that from him. I watched.
Apparently he had 19 missed tackles last year on 60 receptions, which is good stats. But you play in the Big Ten.
He also only had 6
Wait,
touchdowns.
They're in the Big 10 or 12?
They're Big 12.
Big 12.
Big 12.
Sorry, excuse me. Either way, they're both bad at tackling and they're both bad at defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I think personally, I'm trying to find his 40-yard dash. For some reason, I don't think he actually ran the 40. Because NFL.com has combine results, but they only have the vertical and the broad jump. So maybe he ran it at his pro day. But yeah, to me, I thought Jordan Addison was going to be the pick here. I thought he was going to mesh really well with the type of offense that the Chargers run, and what I feel like they're missing at the wide receiver position. So I don't hate the pick, but I don't love the pick. I think picking him before Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers is a little crazy.
I think this is more risky to me.
It is very risky. Also, considering
smaller, but big receivers haven't been doing their thing as much.
I wonder if maybe they were gonna go Jackson Smith because he went the pick before.
True.
He went at 20, and then Quentin Johnson went at 21. Kind of wild. 4 receivers picked in a row from 20 to 23. From 20 to 23. Jordan Addison being the last one. Did not expect that whatsoever. But
I did.
I don't think. Oh, I thought Addison might have gone before. I thought Addison might have gone before.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go to Baltimore,
and I thought he was going to go before Zay Flowers. But yeah, I don't know. Back to specifically, I think what Evan is maybe asking about is he asking about the Duggan pick? You think more? I mean, because I don't know what to make of that pick.
No, he's just making. He wants to know what we think of the Chargers draft, but he's just making a joke because they took 3 TCU players, which is kind of funny. But apparently, they like what that team did. That team was loaded last year. They made some noise, and they have never made noise like that before. So they obviously had good players. So.
I don't hate their draft. They have a big problem in the running game, and I like that they drafted Henley. Like you already mentioned, they drafted the edge player from.
He's not a run stopper though.
They drafted, but I mean, any athlete on the field alone definitely helps improve your.
I guess. I would have liked to have seen them take a running back, a big running back.
I guess you're right, huh?
No running backs taken from them, and that's what I would have liked.
I think they're banking on Eckler for sure coming back at this point. Obviously,
Eckler is under contract for another year.
Yeah, I don't think his market value is as high as he was to be considered. Hasn't been traded yet or given a contract extension. Overall, I don't hate the Chargers draft. I think it's just solid, honestly.
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, I already gave my piece.
The Duggan pick is the only one that I'm just like, why? I mean, at that point, he was picked 239. At that point, it is best available, but like,
I mean, at this point, they took Easton Stick out of North Dakota State probably 3 or 4 years ago, so he's probably up. If he's still the backup, so at this point it'd be easier to get rid of him than.
I mean, they got Daniels still. They got Chase Daniels still. I'm pretty sure.
Easton's the backup now.
But regardless, he's probably coming in to be a camp arm. He is also athletic, so
yeah, he might be able to do something.
I was gonna say he might.
I think he's trash. I don't think he can do.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Really, that's unfortunate.
In the league, I don't think he's there.
In the league, I agree. He looked good in college, but
he looked like shit in the big games.
Well, the championship game, obviously, yes, but I mean, Georgia, as we know, is just
okay. That's what you're going to be playing in the NFL.
No, I agree, but I'm not saying he's going to be good in the NFL by any means. I'm just saying he had his moments in college. Where
for sure. But like we said, a league where we didn't put a lot of value on Quentin Johnson. He was the yak. He was the
Quentin
yak
Johnson
leader.
only had 6 touchdowns of his 32 last year, which was what I was going to say earlier, which I think is very interesting. Clearly the number 1 target, but somehow only pulled in 6 of his 30 touchdown passes. That to me is concerning. That to me is the most concerning.
Well, he only had 60 catches.
Yeah, that's wild to me. That's wild to me. I'm sorry.
Might have been out. I don't know. But either way, shout out Evan for letting us break down your team.
Did you see that between this year and last year, 22 Georgia players have been drafted? Insane.
Shout out Georgia. They're doing that.
They are the new. They're the new top dog. I think, like officially.
It might be. They're the next factory.
Back to back. I mean,
Alabama still had the number 1 pick, baby, and Heisman.
Did they have the Heisman? Oh yeah, he won the Heisman, huh?
In the year where they don't go to the championship, they have the number 1 pick in Heisman. So it's like pick your poison. You still know what you're getting out of Alabama, baby.
Alabama's ranked out of the top 5 projection.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I think they're 6 or 7.
That's disrespectful.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
I think Ohio was even at number 5.
Yeah, but those early projections are always.
Yeah, they're always bullshit.
They already did literally the day after the NFL draft, and they already had a 2024
Yeah, well,
mock
they
draft.
were way too
with
early.
the Cardinals
bullshit,
picking
yeah.
1 and 2.
That's wild.
Which
Taking Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams.
yeah, Caleb Williams. I don't think that the only reason why I think they would go.
Sam was telling me he hopes Vikings get Caleb Williams.
Everyone wants him.
They would literally have to. They would literally have to.
Dude, the Cardinals are gonna get him. If Kyler doesn't play this year, Cardinals are getting him.
Kyler's gonna, I think, play this year. He's gonna come back by like the 3rd or 4th game, I think.
I know I've said like I might become a fan of wherever Caleb goes, but
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
I don't
At
think
all, you think?
I don't think I could ever be.
Well, no, why would
way.
you?
We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, why would
because
you?
I was saying wherever Caleb goes, I might
Oh,
or like
yeah.
root for him. But if the Cardinals get him, I still don't think I could ever.
I'm about to look up. I have to do with. I was gonna try and find
bro,
that
what
mock
if
draft.
Dak? What if Dak just doesn't do it this year and we go get Caleb?
God, I don't.
Bro,
I don't know about
Well,
that.
they're
Caleb would
already
look
calling
sick
him.
in a
They're already
Cowboy.
calling him a mini Pat. They're already saying he's literally the next
Yeah.
quarterback, like closest to Patrick Mahomes
Yeah,
in terms of like
they
his
were saying that all
like
last year.
athletic ability in college. They're saying he's like
yeah, but Spencer Rattler
Was
his
creativity too. No, he
Was
he
Spencer
does a lot
Rattler
of
in
those
this
shovel
draft?
passes.
I thought
and
he
like,
declared no.
I don't know.
I think he must be coming back. So I feel like he probably would. If Max,
No, I think he's coming back.
if Max got drafted, Spencer would have probably for sure gotten drafted.
Dude, Spencer's gonna turn up and get drafted next
oh,
year.
Rattler.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, sweet.
All right, shout out Evan asking about the Chargers. Let's go ahead and
See
move
Horned
on.
Frogs.
This was a good draft though. I was entertained. We watched the Pat McAfee broadcast, like we said. That shit was banging, dude. It was good time. Who else do we got here?
We got a couple NBA questions. I think we're gonna rattle off, and then we're gonna go to mock
Well,
drafts. We're gonna break them down.
Yeah, we got one more. Julian Avila wants to know. Easily won the draft.
That's
Was
right.
Eagles? Do we think they won? I think they definitely they made the most noise.
They definitely made the most noise, I think. But I'm not being biased in any means at all. I think Steelers are definitely. You'd talk about winning the draft as well.
Yeah, Steelers are top 3 for sure. I think it's Giants, Steelers, and Eagles.
Philadelphia Bull.
Yeah, Philadelphia Bull Eagles definitely
Bulldogs.
made their Georgia presence known. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I think
I'm tired of people saying Jordan Carter was a fucking draft steal. He still was the Jalen Carter. Sorry, he still was the 9th pick in the draft. He still went top 10. I don't think that's a steal.
I mean because he was projected to go 1 at first, but
Is he not going to have any like legal problems?
Doesn't
Potentially.
seem like it. I don't know. I have
potentially
no
you could. There's still an investigation going on.
So what happens?
He
They
could-
just fucking lose out on that.
Yeah, but I don't think he's. I don't think it'd be anything more than like a misdemeanor.
I feel like that's such a dangerous pick.
It could be, but his risk reward is very high. Either way, I think we're putting a lot of. I mean, we saw them take fucking who was it? Cam Jurgens last year, Jordan Davis. They didn't do shit for him. Like in retrospect, like Jordan Davis didn't really do shit, and Cam Jurgens was decent, but he didn't really do that much considering for a team that went to the NFC Championship game. So who's to say these Georgia players are going to be also almighty so successful on the Eagles? And you know, I don't know. We were talking a lot of mess about DeAndre Swift and how he was a fucking horizontal runner for a lot of the year with the Lions, who was a team that was carried on the back of Jamal Williams a lot of time on the run game, and he got traded for a reason. So I know we're putting a lot of hype on the Eagles for getting these guys, all these Georgia Bulldogs, making the trade for Swift, getting a guy that, you know, on paper averaged 5.5 yards per carry, but he also wasn't the most consistent, and a lot of time I feel like limited the Lions offense with the type of holes he was picking to hit, and you know, the vertical cuts upfield he was choosing to hit. There was a lot of times where he was running into tackles, and it was seemingly he was the one stopping a lot of the offense from being even more productive. So I don't know. Swift's definitely a versatile player that I think that the Eagles will get him into a look where he can really help them out. Seen definitely different guys be successful in that system, like Miles Sanders, who just got to deal with Carolina. Boston Scott's been a little guy that's been very successful there. And DeAndre Swift's a Philadelphia guy going back to the hometown. I guess back in the day when he was coming out of high school, they were calling him, his nickname is Philly. So he's going to be a hometown hero, probably hitting his fucking his shit in his hometown. I mean, that's next level. I was going to say hitting the hole in his hometown, but he's going to be doing that on and off the field, I'm sure. Big pause, but
yeah, I think Philadelphia had a fantastic draft, but I'm sticking by it. I think the Steelers had the best draft. I think they won the draft. I'm sorry, I really do. Steelers draft was phenomenal. They addressed,
not biased at all, though.
They addressed every position of need that they needed, and they got arguably the steal of the draft. Washington.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah. That piggybacks onto James McGee's question. He wants to know our biggest steals. He's the only one that answered the question about our best and worst of the draft, but he had Washington and Darnell Washington and Roschon Johnson as his biggest winners, and we agreed. I already said back the Bears making that pick is a really big pick, and like you said, Washington as well. He slid on the board for knee reason. He had knee issues.
Yeah.
Which kind of limited him a lot of the time. And
there was a doctor who came out and said, though, like I'm assuming it was the Georgia doctor, like his physician. Because did you see how that lineman from USC who went late, he had his doctor send a note. That he's had a doctor send a note to all the teams saying like he's fine. He should have 1 year of rehab and he should be.
I mean,
playing.
Yeah, that makes sense. But we also are seeing players sue doctors right now for surgeries that
I agree. But there was a doctor who
Taylor Lewan.
There was a doctor who said that he thought the knee issue thing was outlandish and a joke, and he wouldn't be surprised if Washington plays a 10-year career, if not more. So that's why I'm stoked and think that obviously it's a steal of some. Really is a steal.
100%. I wanted the Cowboys to take him. Obviously, we have need at tight end after losing Dalton Schultz.
I was so hurt. I was one pick away from Kincaid going to Dallas. Fucking Buffalo jumped you guys and took him.
Well, he was going to, I think we were going to take him too. But the Darnell Washington pick just is going to be really cool because we're going to see him be right next to Broderick Jones on a lot of, I would assume, run sets. That's when this guy's going to be used heavily. To me, his comparison is a more glorified Mercedes Lewis. He's a bigger guy that's going to be able to be utilized on play action and two tight end sets with Freiermuth. I think he's going to really fit into that offense nicely, and he's going to look sick as a
lot of tight ends right now too.
Big, intimidating motherfucker in the black and gold. He's definitely going to be making some noise. I think it's a sick steal of a pick, and I watched today. I'm sure you watched it too. The Joey Porter getting drafted with his family there. Everybody calling him. Super dope. Omar Khan's on Pat tomorrow, which is going to be sick. They're calling him the con artist, bro. That's just
that's what I'm most excited about. For his first draft, actually being the GM, silly. It honestly went perfect. It went more. Now, obviously, these players still have to play and still have to.
On paper, it looks
perform.
Super fire.
But on paper, it looks like if he drafts like this, I mean, for the whole time he's here, then that would be fantastic.
Damn, James, for his worst, I didn't even notice he put Anthony Richardson. He does not like that pick.
Really?
I like Richardson at the Colts.
I like it too.
I think for what they had available there, him and Steichen are probably the best pairing that you could put together, and hopefully they make some magic. I don't know.
Because Steichen's been like every quarterback he's worked with they've performed higher. They've performed higher than what people expected them.
And they're good in both the air and the ground.
It was Jalen Hurts and who was the first one before Jalen? I literally just saw it today. I'm blanking so much on all this. I think it might have been Herbert.
I don't know.
Regardless, both quarterbacks that Blankenship has worked with before now, obviously Anthony Richardson. What did I say? All right, Steichen, yeah.
Like Rodrigo?
No, I don't know what's going on with me, man. I had a long day. They've turned out to be fantastic players, so I like the Richardson pick a lot.
Yeah, we'll see about Richardson. I think that a lot of anticipation right now is surrounding Richardson and whether or not he's going to get thrown in to start the first year. But I think there's a lot of hope for him right now. I know he's training exclusively with his quarterback coaches right now. There's a lot of videos, footage being released. They're really training him to, let his arm loose and start uncorking it. They think a lot of his mechanical issues came at Florida as a result of the fact that he was holding back his arm strength. So now these teams are seeing a guy with the biggest arm that I think we've ever seen, one of the most fluid motions that we've seen in a long time. His talent rivals that of anything that I think any top quarterback has ever put on display in the combine, in the pre-draft process. Something of like Jamarcus Russell type hype, and that's where I hope he doesn't fall into that trap, because he is so exciting to watch throw the football from a quarterback's perspective. And if this guy has even more behind his arm that was leading on in college, and now they're going to be able to, you know, milk out all of that potential in the NFL, hallelujah, because I would love to watch it, and I would be a fucking giant Colts fan if this guy ends up panning out and he's throwing the fucking ball all over the yard.
Listen, they might ask his fucking brother to play quarterback.
Yeah, his brother got that deep voice.
Dude is grown man at 13.
Yeah, he's got the tat on the neck. That dude was flossed up. If you haven't seen that video, check it out on Twitter.
Tat on the neck was kind of wild. When I saw that, I was like, whoa. I was like, this dude's 13. He's got a neck tat?
He's definitely getting a lot of female play in whatever. Is he in high school?
Do not
junior
condone
high?
that. Here, Sideline Banter.
Junior high, and fucking with the neck tat. He's definitely rolling in fresh to school. But either way, also, they did a tribute video where his brother, you know, said thank you and how appreciative he is of Anthony and how proud he is of him. It was a tearjerker for sure, bro. But
while we're here, should we look at our mock drafts and compare them to the NFL draft?
I mean, we can, yeah, for sure. We don't really have any more questions, I don't think, in regard to the NFL draft. Thank you, James, Will Perez, David Krat, Julian, and Evan for participating. And we'll get to Stephen and Blake's question when we talk NBA.
We talk NBA, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and drop our mock drafts breakdown.
So Spencer is going to go ahead and pull up the first round draft picks from last weekend. Me and Weston, as you guys know, if you watched last week and saw on Instagram, we did our own mock drafts, and we were interested to see who was going to be a little closer or who had the closest. So
definitely me. Sorry, buddy.
I mean, I don't know. Spence.
You guys were pretty like, I think you were even with what you had, like, as far as actual picks, like what the team took. But you guys were both like very close position.
No, I think we both did pretty good for what we had.
Yeah, the only picks that really, it was either picks that we completely got wrong, or they were right, or it was same position, just different player. So, yeah, I mean, how should we do this, you think? I didn't even really think about that. What are you looking at me like that for? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can just go over the picks that we, you know.
Well, obviously, Bryce Young we both got, which was correct. C.J. Stroud.
I had Paris Johnson going to the Cards, which I held true to.
That's what I was going to say. That we can count that. I also had Paris Johnson going to the Cards. You had Levis going 4, though. I didn't even have Levis going.
I know.
I didn't even have Levis going in the first round.
You got him going to fucking.
I had him going to Indy.
Richardson, yeah, that was a clean one. We both thought Carter was going to go with the Seahawks, but
no. Witherspoon ended up going to Seattle. That's right. I had Peter Skorinski going 7th. I don't even. He went late.
No, he went to the Titans at 11.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. You're right.
And I had fucking Bijan. I called that shit. That was definitely a call.
Let's look at the top 10 real quick. Let's look at the top 10. So top 10. We both had Bryce.
Yeah.
And then did you have CJ?
No.
No, neither one of us had CJ. We both had CJ falling. Then obviously we didn't have the trade. We had Paris Johnson. Will Anderson went 3. Anthony Richardson to the Colts. Witherspoon to Seattle, which I love. I love that pick so much. That's all. I didn't even mention that when Will asked. I love that Witherspoon pick. I feel like he's going to be like an enforcer. I don't want to say he's going to be like him, but I could see it. I think he's going to kind of be Polamalu-esque. Not like, obviously, I don't think he's going to be as good as him, but I think he's going to be like a...
he's probably going to be better.
He's going to be like a mad dog enforcer, kind of more like a hard-hitting, hard-nosed safety. He's not going to be...
Well, he's a corner.
Or sorry, corner. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, but he's nice. He's
going to be like that guy on the defense that people aren't going to want to be running across.
Tyree Wilson to the Raiders makes so much sense, honestly, but neither one of us had that going.
Neither one of us had that. Yeah, I had Peter Skorinski. I had Miles Murphy going 8. You had the Bijan pick, which I still think is so crazy. I actually had
he's going to wear
Broderick.
number 7 too. He's the first person to wear 7 since Young Ho Koo, but the first actual player to wear it since Michael Vick.
Whoa. Kickers or players, man?
Skill player, you know.
Kickers or players?
Someone that's scoring touchdowns, making money.
Brian Branch at 10. It's actually funny. You had Nolan Smith going 10 to Philadelphia, and they didn't get him till 30.
Yeah, but either way, he's same. I picked the team, baby. Let's go.
That's still crazy to me.
It's kind of a dub.
That's a big dub.
That's a dub. We'll count it as a dub.
But yeah, dude, I can't believe he went so late.
Yeah,
it is wild. He went so late. He went super late. He went very late. I had Jackson Smith going 11.
There is a way to score mock drafts. You get points for same player. You get same player, same team, and then you get points for like same player, same pick, same team, and then you get player like
same position.
Yeah, same.
We had CJ Stroud, or I had CJ Stroud going 12. You had Richardson going 12. Who did Houston pick at 12?
Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah,
and it was actually
Lions.
Oh, it was Lions. That's right.
Houston went up to 1 and 2.
That's we both had Green Bay picking a running or a receiver, and that's what I wanted to talk about. When the hell is Green Bay going to do anything
Never.
to help their quarterbacks in the first round? I don't get it. I don't understand. I know they have Christian Watson. They don't even have Randall Cobb anymore.
There wasn't, I guess, in Smith and Jigba, there wasn't enough value for him to go get him because
there was 4 receivers who had high enough value in this draft, in my opinion at least, to pair with Jordan Love, who they just signed to a $22 million contract extension. That to me is insane. Pittsburgh ended up trading the pick as well, 14 for 17. They got Broderick at 14. I had him, or dude, you were 1 pick away. Actually, and it's so funny that you had him going to the Jets, because I'm pretty sure, and I think everybody was pretty sure that he was going to the Jets until Pittsburgh jumped them and drafted him. Who did New York end up picking, Spence?
At 15, they took Will McDonald.
Yeah, from Iowa State.
Outside linebacker from Iowa State.
I didn't think he was going to go that high.
And then
he's an edge rusher, but he's going to be a dog. He played inside in college the whole time as an underside edge rusher, and he played the 5 technique, which is inside the tackle or nose up on the tackle. He played that in college the whole time at undersized. Now they said on the phone too when they picked him, they're going to get him in the 9, so he's going to be a stand-up edge rusher now. He's going to be a dog.
The Commanders ended up going corner too. Who did they go against, Spence?
Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State.
That's right. Pittsburgh, obviously. Who did? Well, and it's funny because we both had New England, or we both had Pittsburgh going corner at 17, and a corner still ended up going at 17 with New England. They got who you thought was the steal of the first round,
Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah. Who if you had them picking Brian Branch, I had them picking Darnell Wright. And then 18, Detroit traded it away. Who ended up picking at 18, Spence?
Detroit
Campbell.
still has it. They took Jack Campbell at 18.
Oh, that's right, dude. Sorry, they traded away 12. That's right. Or they
The
traded
linebacker
for
from
12.
Iowa.
Say that again.
The inside linebacker
That's
from
right.
Iowa.
Who did? I have it actually up right here. Oh, that's right. Tampa Bay got Cansey from Pittsburgh. Love that pick for them because they're saying he might be the next Aaron Donald, and I'm not saying he's gonna be, but he was a dog at Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay's kind of in a rebuild right now, and I feel like they're probably not gonna rush the quarterback thing. Tampa Bay could be a team to look out for next year with Caleb Williams. And I don't want to fall into. I think
anyone could.
I don't want to fall into that.
Yeah, anybody could plot on getting that.
We honestly might see. I don't want to say it, but we might see some tanking next year in the NFL.
Dude, that'd be crazy.
Like kind of how
that would be crazy.
NBA like.
I mean, I think he's a great player and all, but I really don't. I can't for the life of me bank on somebody coming straight from college and plugging and playing and just relying on them.
It's happened before.
It has, but that is many times. I don't know. It's so risky.
It happened a lot. I feel like.
I don't know. I love him. I think he's great, but it's just such a big risk to take. To tank for that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't forcibly do that. And they're in the worst division, so they
like
could get in the playoffs even though they tank. So it's just like
right.
The likelihood of them being able to do that.
Quarterback now is.
I could understand you trading for that number 1 pick and doing that, but I don't know why you would.
Yeah, but nobody is gonna trade. Whoever gets the number 1 pick next year.
Whoever does have
gets the only way somebody won't trade next year is if like God forbid,
whole fucking roster.
God forbid, like a team with a really great quarterback like gets injured this year and they're horrible and then they end up getting the number 1 pick. Honestly, at that point they might trade the number 1 pick actually, unless like we could see We could even see in that situation Marvin Harrison being the number 1 pick. Of a receiver as a number 1 pick. They already got him projected as a number 2 pick, which I'm assuming would probably be the highest a receiver has gone, at least I can think of in recent memory for sure. I don't remember the last time a receiver went in the top 3 of an NFL draft. No idea.
Not that I can think.
What were you saying though, Murph?
Oh, I picked Deontay Banks at the number 24 pick for my mock draft, and he ended up going to 24, but just to a different team. And then I have Anton Harrison and Miles Murphy switched in my mock draft for picks. And then I have Saints also picking a D lineman, and then Eagles also picking. That's just funny. I was kind of close.
Who did Dallas go with in the first round?
Mozzie Smith. I'm hype off that
tackle
pick.
Out of Michigan.
Dude, he's a dog. He's one of the strongest players that I think anybody's ever seen, dude. He broke a machine at Michigan because he put too much weight on it. Well, I saw a video of a whole team watching him rep it, and they do this explosive testing at Michigan where they jump like, I think they're like 40 or increasing box jumps in like stairs, and they have to base jump them all the way up to the top, and they do it as fast as they can. And he has the second, his time was only like 1/10 of a second behind Aiden Hutchinson, who had the fastest ever. And he's like 50 pounds heavier than Aiden Hutchinson. So this guy's like he's a freakazoid athlete. Has some of the best testing numbers, huh?
How big is he?
He's a big motherfucker, dude. I don't know exactly his statistics. I can look, but at first I was not that hype, and I am honestly so fucking excited.
6'3", 323.
Yeah, he's a freak, dude. Like, I'm honestly really excited about him. So I'm happy with what we did, honestly, in the first round. But I think our mock drafts ended up being better than expected. I think we did pretty good for our picks for what we could consider. I mean, we knew there was going to be a lot of movement, and even so, we were kind of close as far as positioning and then teams. And with some players, we were spot on.
Keyshawn Johnson was the number 1 pick in 1990.
That's crazy.
And 3 wide receivers who have gone number 1 overall. Dave Park, San Francisco, 1964. Irving Fryar, New England, 1984.
Irv Fryar, yeah.
And oh my Lord, man, what a day! And then Keyshawn Johnson, New York Jets, 1996.
That's wild.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think our mock drafts were pretty solid for us not being professionals who get paid to do this.
Yeah, not bad. We would have scored pretty well.
I would say they're pretty solid, and that was fun. We're definitely looking forward to doing it again next year, and we appreciate you guys for being a part of that with us.
We can tally the score and put some money on it.
See about that, but yeah, I mean, the NFL draft was exciting. I loved it. A lot of trades, a lot of big-time names going later than we thought. A lot of steals, as people are saying, even though they're saying some guy was a steal when he was a top 10 pick. But
won't let that go. Huh?
I hate it. I think because everybody's like, oh, the Eagles did it again. They had an incredible draft. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they did, but it's like
they did. They kind of finessed.
They kind of finessed a little bit, I will admit. Them getting Swift, I think, is just if Swift stays healthy, then the Eagles might be back in the Super Bowl. We might see the Chiefs and Eagles again, but
so stacked.
They're gonna be so good, dude.
They've made so many moves. But you can never count the Chiefs out either.
They're gonna be. I mean, no, you literally can't. And we did it a couple times last year, and I think as long as Patrick Mahomes is literally still the quarterback, then they are literally gonna be favorites every year in the AFC at least. At least that I can think of. I don't know. Was the Kincaid pick enough to shoot Buffalo over Kansas City? We won't find out until next year.
Bro, people are saying that Kincaid is going to be like Josh Allen's Travis Kelce. So we'll see, man.
He's a dog.
He's going to be sick. You know, oddly enough, shout out to Alex Farina, former San Diego quarterback, played at Desert Vista. Dalton Kincaid has only played, I think, 3 years of football. He played 1 year of college at San Diego. Where Alex Farina, my friend, played quarterback with him, that we played in high school at Desert Vista. He was his quarterback there, and then he transferred to Utah, and now he's in the NFL. So he's played, like, I think 4 years of football total.
This would be like his 3rd or 4th year?
Yeah. And he's a fucking dog,
natural.
Bro. And they also had Ross Dwelly, the tight end from San Francisco, who caught multiple touchdowns. I don't know if he's still there, but he was also on the team at the same time as Dalton Kincaid. So University of San Diego had a fucking stack. The Toreros had tight ends for days, bro, and now both of them are in the NFL doing big things. But shout out Dalton Kincaid. He's going to be a problem for sure.
My only thing with Dalton Kincaid is what's going to be the difference between him and I'm so horrible tonight with the names for some reason.
Dawson Knox.
Yeah, Dawson Knox. I'm just exhausted. What's going to be the difference between them two? You know what I mean? It's
Brandon Bean already explained it. Dawson Knox is going to be the Y tight end, the normal Y tight end, and Dalton Kincaid is going to be playing that F tight end, which we see a lot of times in Cincinnati, or not Cincinnati, Kansas City, which is the same type of set, but they prefer to use another wide receiver. But this one helps a little bit more just because Josh Allen is a running quarterback. So it's going to be a lot similar to what Baltimore does, where they have the two tight end sets, where they have Mark Andrews playing the wide tight end and they have Isaiah Likely playing the F tight end, who's going to be the more pass catching tight end that's going to go over the middle. And you have Mark Andrews that's going to not only press the defense, but he's going to create mismatches and also help in the run game, depending on the play scheme. Because a lot of times when you have a two tight end set, either way, you're going to call two plays at the line and figure that out.
You might see that in Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah, very, very likely. It's pretty much the same type of system. I think a lot of offensives are realizing how vital it is down the stretch. And when it comes to playoff time, having the opportunity to call, a run play in the huddle and then be able to switch it to a pass play with two tight ends that not only can block, but are pretty specialized in catching passes, and both having them on the field when it's important it proves very vital. So I think, we're seeing it. Darnell Washington and Freiermuth are a great example of what could be to come, but Kincaid and Dawson Knox as well is just essentially being a replica of what a lot of these teams have created. I mean, Kansas City doesn't do the two tight end sets as much, but they do the three wide receivers with the tight end, and they essentially do the exact same thing, and they create the opportunities as well with these receivers attached, and then in blocking opportunities and going in motion constantly. They're doing the exact same thing. It just looks a little bit different at the start of the play. But I think that's the new wave in the NFL, to be able to run these shotgun sets with pass catching tight ends who can not only block but give you the threat through the air. It just creates more mismatches, and teams don't necessarily know how to guard it just because there's more possibilities play call what you can do. So I think it's gonna be a dope fit, honestly.
All right, well, you heard it here first in Sideline Banter.
Hey, yes,
maybe
sir.
not first because you said somebody else broke it down, but you heard it here second.
Knox and Kincaid, baby, could be next up.
Yeah, that was great draft coverage, I think, by us last 2 weeks. Let's be real here. Let's give ourselves a round of applause, huh?
Hey.
Who do you think failed in the draft? Honestly, that's what I want to know. Who do you think drafted the worst?
Dude, honestly, not a lot of teams to me stand out as failing.
I saw a lot of people talking shit about the Cardinals draft.
Cardinals had a really solid draft.
Yeah, I think Cardinals draft was pretty decent. They listened to their quarterback and they assessed a lot of needs. This is their first draft without Steve Keim, so it's pretty interesting. But a lot of people are pissed at what the Lions did in the first round just because they could have reached, so quote unquote. But if those are the players that they're really dedicated to and they like, I mean, it is what it is. But Gibbs going at 12 is a little insane, and Campbell going at 18 is a little crazy because you could have got both of those players way late. I think comparatively, you could have moved back in the 12 situation and then still gotten Gibbs and Campbell later on if you wanted to even move back again potentially. But I think they make a big steal. Go ahead and get Brian Branch out of Alabama. I think he's a really, really good pick for them.
Really great pick, and they got him late.
Yeah, 45th in the second round. And they get Sam Laporta, too, is arguably the best tight end in the draft. Iowa has been a tight end factory, obviously producing George Kittle. You produce Noah Fant. This has been a factory for, a long time, and they've, never really had a tight end flop, I don't think. Who else they have? Hawkinson's from Iowa as well. So they just have tight ends galore, and Sam Laporta, I think, is going to be a perfect fit. MCDC is a former tight end. He just knows what he wants and what he's looking for, and this guy is a block first, catch second tight end, but can do really big things receiving-wise and yards after catch, and Brian Branch slides to him, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to prove himself that he's a first-round talent, and a lot of people projected him to go in the first. I know I did, and I was really surprised to see him slide that long. His comp to me is Tyrann Mathieu, and I think that gives Detroit and Dan Campbell a lot of freedom to be able to put him wherever they want on the field and do some creative, exotic things, kind of like the stuff that we used to see Tyrann Mathieu do and what Jamal Adams kind of does for the Seahawks. But they also get Hendon Hooker, which I think could be the heir apparent to Jared Goff in the next couple of years, which the way I broke it down, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but the core that they're building right now is built to go. Like, they have a young guys that could really make a run in the next 2 to 3 years if they stay together as a core that continues to get better. Jared Goff might not be there in the next 2 to 3 years. Hendon Hooker is the older guy that nobody really wanted to touch early on because he's 25, coming off a knee injury, goes to Detroit where he's not expected to do anything this year.
I really like that. I really, 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 really like that.
Yeah, I think that's a reliable pick.
It's really good, and it could prove dividends because what have we seen? Teams be successful, besides the Chiefs, any team that's successful or going to rival go to the playoffs is with a quarterback on their rookie deal. They're able to sign vital free agents, top veteran guys when they need to, and build around a young core. They're established with the young core. What's holding them back right now is whether or not Jared Goff can take them there. But who's to say Hendon Hooker, who couldn't have been the steal of the draft, recovering off a knee injury, a guy that sits behind, Jared Goff was a top 5 quarterback in the league at the end of the year last year. I don't care. Like 100%.
Oh, he was. He definitely he revamped his career with Detroit.
He was playing undeniably insane for the last 5 games of the year. And Hendon Hooker could have lucked out here being picked in the 3rd round with the Lions and ends up sitting behind Jared Goff, taking in what he needs to, plays on his rookie year, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after, who knows, or not next year, obviously, but maybe a year rest, maybe 2 years sits and, learns like the type of thing that Aaron Rodgers did, Jordan Love did, that we see, a lot of teams willing to do. This could really prove dividends for the Lions. Like he could be a steal and end up being a guy with the time to get his knee right and the time to, adjust to the NFL, being a dual threat type of guy that was damn near a Heisman candidate last year. He could end up making, a run with the Lions, who, I don't know, a lot of hype around the Lions last year based off of what they did last year. I don't know if they're necessarily ready to be that team, but they continue taking steps. This could be someone to fuck around in an open division. Like we said, the Vikings are obviously looking at it like this is our division to lose right now, but the Lions are up, dude, and they could be coming for that top spot.
Yeah.
What do you think about Denver's, though? I also was seeing a lot of Denver was really quiet.
Their draft
Denver was very quiet,
but they didn't
yeah,
have
but they didn't have that many picks.
Right.
Super interesting.
Same with Atlanta. Atlanta didn't have a ton.
I like the Marvin Mims pick for Denver, just to add to the wide receiver room for Russ, but
he's just a burner, though.
Yeah,
he doesn't do very many things, and in a receiver room where you already have KJ Hamler not doing shit and Judy being unreliable, like Marvin Mims is not a producer. He's a fucking make or break guy. So I don't know. It's
not having a first rounder because of the Russell Wilson trade honestly really hurts, because they're
in a late second.
They kind of have fallen back a little bit considering the play of Russell Wilson last year. But I think they went a little too defensive heavy. They only had 5 picks. They've drafted a linebacker, a corner, and a safety, and their defense is already pretty solid to me. I think with the picks
made
that you
a
had,
ton of free agent pickups, though.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
Mike McGlinchey on the O-line.
I was going to say, I don't know off the top of my head their free agent pickups, but
they made a ton.
To me, the offense was the biggest struggle for this team last year, and I think you need to. I personally think you need to do everything you can in the draft to address those weaknesses, especially considering getting young, fresh, new players that you could keep on your team for a long time if you play it right. So that Denver to me was a little disappointing.
Miami was pretty quiet too.
Miami was very quiet. They also didn't have a first-round draft pick, though.
They only had 4 picks.
They didn't have a first-round draft pick. They only had the 4 picks, like you said.
Broncos only had 5, and they got the only white corner available and a white linebacker undersized linebacker out of Arkansas. Very interesting. I don't know.
Honestly, I think the team that disappointed me the most was Minnesota. Honestly, I really do. Jordan Addison pick to me was great. I love that pick.
Yeah, you lose Thielen.
I love that pick to match him up with Jefferson, because they're probably going to pay Jefferson, you would assume, the biggest contract we've ever seen for a receiver. Then they have now guaranteed 5 years with Addison on the team if he plays well and they pick up his 5th option. But I don't know. They didn't address their biggest need to me, and that is their defensive side of the ball. They drafted a cornerback. They drafted Blackman from USC. They got Jay Ward from LSU. They didn't address their linebacker situation, though, and the linebacker and the defensive line, at least to my knowledge, I think was their biggest weakness on the defense. They
had trouble stopping the run.
They didn't have a fantastic run-stopping defense last year, and they didn't go out and even try and draft a new young linebacker. I couldn't tell you who their linebackers are now, considering they got rid of Kendricks. But that, to me, I think is the biggest disappointment with Minnesota. Also, shout out my brother Connor. May the 4th is tomorrow. He wanted us to shout it out. So
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Everywhere.
Yeah. That
New
to
Fortnite
me.
update.
That to me.
Star Wars
was the
won't be able to
biggest
play it, but it looks
disappointment.
sick.
Yeah, Weston can't play Fortnite anymore. It's very unfortunate.
I don't want to talk about
Very
it.
sad time. But why can't you play Fortnite anymore, Weston?
It was just taking over my life. I was on my way to my pro career, and someone just snatched the opportunity right from me. But
Somebody had to just come and
nobody came.
take it away from him.
Nobody came, but you know what? At the end of the day, it makes us a better person. So
And somebody came.
Uh,
Pause. But yeah, no, the Viking pick to me was a little. Them not even attempting to go after a
the
linebacker.
Minnesota Trojans.
They didn't go until they did. They went USC heavy and LSU heavy, and then after that they went BYU. I like the Jaron Hall pick a little bit. I don't hate it. Is he the quarterback of the future? No, but I think Minnesota could have went a little more aggressive and gotten a linebacker.
good story about Jaron Hall, which I love to hear during the Puget process. They showed him a play intentionally when scouting him. I believe it was Minnesota, a play where his wide receiver, everybody knew that he ran the wrong route. Obviously, that it wasn't communicated between them two that that's what they knew. So they were just going to show it to him to see how he reacted. And he said, I should have made the adjustment on that play to be able to make sure that, the play was right and that everybody was on the same page. So right off the bat, took a responsibility on it when they wanted to show him film to blame on his receiver. So right there, that showed him that Jaron Hall was the guy for them, and that's why they went ahead and picked him. I think a good player in this draft was Los Angeles Rams. They didn't have a first round pick, but they had 2/3, a fourth, 4 fifths, and 3 sixths, and
There's so many picks,
and then 3 sevenths, including Mr. Irrelevant. So they went hard, man. This is the first time that the Rams have really participated in a draft heavily in a long time, because they've been saying fuck them picks for a while, trading back, trading all their picks. But I think Stetson Bennett in the 4th is an absolute steal, being a young quarterback to learn under the tutelage of Matthew Stafford and hopefully eventually come in and actually play and get some meaningful playing time. I know they have Bryce Perkins there, who is the solidified backup because he's a dog and he's played like a dog so far, but it's going to be anybody's job when, Stafford's time is up, and it could be one of these two guys depending on how they do, because Stetson's damn near the same age as Bryce Perkins. So I guess we'll see, but I also love the pick. They got a TCU guard, Steve Avila. That's who I thought we were going to pick in Dallas, and that's who we were deciding between in the first round between him and Mozzie Smith. So a little bit sad to see Steve Avila go to the Rams, but it's a really good pick for them. They got an edge rusher. They got a D lineman. They got damn near everything in this draft and add some depth for a team that was really, really plagued by injuries and veterans that ended up getting injured last year and were not up to depth. So I think this draft serves the Rams really, really well, and we can see if they can get back into a division that's a little bit struggling. The Cardinals are down,
Yep.
So who can go ahead and do that in this division?
Really
so obviously the heavy favorite is the 49ers, but their quarterback situation is up in the air, so who knows? But anything else you guys want to reference as far as the draft? I feel like we touched on a lot of shit.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
We gotta talk a little NBA before.
Yeah, I think so too.
We also had two
I'm happy with the
questions.
Cowboys draft.
We
by
had
the
two
way.
questions for left over too from Sleeping.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and touch to it. So we'll go ahead and make that transition. Basketball mode initiated.
As a robot.
What they call me.
Perhaps?
I'm Mr. Sideline Bot. Sideline Robot, here we go. NBA talk initiated. So we got the NBA playoffs, obviously absolutely cooking. From what we said last week, we were going over everything that happened.
Jimmy Butler or him?
Jimmy Butler is absolutely him.
Jimmy Butler is him.
We got...
Jimmy Butler?
Right now, the series are looking like we got the 8 seed Heat. Went ahead and took the L in Game 2 yesterday to the New York Knicks.
Jimmy Butler didn't play, though.
Butler did not play. The series is tied 1-1. Butler will be back. Vengeance will be felt. The Heat are playing amazing right now, as well as the Knicks.
Miami's winning this series, though.
I think Miami, too. We have a absolute barn burner in Boston right now, as the 3 seed 76ers are getting absolutely shellacked by the 2 seed Celtics. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter on TNT. 76ers lead the series. It's about to be tied after this. It's 101-75 currently. The Celtics in the lead. It's going to be a 1-1 series here as well. So,
we didn't refresh the page. That game's over.
is it?
Yes.
Yeah. The
Boston
Celtics.
ended up scorching
Yeah,
them.
they almost beat them by 40.
121-87.
All right. So the East is landlocked. We have a final on both ends. It's 1-1 for both
Going
series.
back to Philly, though.
Going back to Philly. 76ers got Joel Embiid back. He's playing in the knee brace.
Big old knee brace, too.
Big boy. He's playing in the football boy.
But
He's
he also
playing in
won
that Don
MVP.
Joy.
He did win MVP. Shout out Joel. Shout out Joel MVP.
That's 2 in a row, right?
No.
No?
This is his
No,
first one.
Jokic won last year.
Yeah, Jokic won. Jokic won last year, and then I think it was.
yeah.
Jokic, brother.
I know. Dude, I'm fucking tired.
You need to Wokic up.
I do need a
was
Jokic
good.
up. No, that was good, dude. I'll
You
give
need
it
some
to you.
Portillo's.
I'll give it to you.
Portillo's.
When did
sponsor us.
did Dragon win it this year?
Dragon.
Dragon these nuts on your forehead? Whoa!
What do you What do you mean?
I was trying to get Spence, damn it.
I wasn't gonna fall for that. I was like, why are you doing that?
Let's go.
How did you fall for
I'm
that?
sorry, I was really trying to get Spence, but I had to take
Honestly,
the
with all
opportunity.
the bullshit that he's not been able to remember and been saying, I just thought that he thought someone in the
Something
NBA was
stupid,
named
yeah.
Dragon. Yeah.
Dragon Bender? He might have
Yeah,
won it last
literally.
year.
I thought that's who it was referring to. I was like, okay. But both the series are tied in the East. Cool. I mean, I just got hit with a dick joke and trying to move on, but
I'll go ahead and take it over then if you want.
I mean, go for it, man.
I just want to take over because before we get to the best series that's going on, are we about to be chanting Nuggets in 4 here soon or what? Right now, Nuggets have a 2-0 lead
They're
on
going to
the
Phoenix, though,
Suns.
so who
They are
knows?
moving to Phoenix.
No Chris Paul.
No Chris Paul.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
No Chris Paul. He's
Oh,
out for
shit.
he's out for sure. Game 3, 4, and they're thinking 5.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he's gonna be.
What happened?
He has
Suns
a
are cooked, bro.
He has a groin issue. I don't think it's officially a strain. I think it is a strain. I think it's a strain. He's going to be
Damn.
reevaluated in a week. So that means he's going to for sure miss games 3, 4, 5. Suns are absolutely cooked. KD's going to have to take over. Book is doing everything he can. He's averaging 35 and 7 right now. So you can't really.
That's a lot.
You can't really
Ask for more.
Yeah, you can't ask for more from him. I mean, Book's outscoring KD in almost every single game.
Yeah.
And I don't. You expect that from your young superstar, but you also went out and got Kevin Durant for him to be Kevin Durant in moments like this to take over the game.
Dude,
and be
I feel an injury
superstar that he
looming
is.
over Kevin Durant, though.
You think what?
I feel like for some reason, I just have a feeling Kevin's going to get injured. I didn't know Chris Paul was out.
Yeah,
but
Chris
I
Paul's
thought,
out for.
I thought KD
he might have played his last game
KD
as a
had
Sun.
that short injury before postseason.
He might have played his last game as a Sun.
Hot take.
Their depth is just so bad. I do not
Yeah.
see them winning this series.
Their
anymore.
depth is just
If they
not
don't
comparable.
win, I think this is very obvious. But if they don't win this Friday, then the series is over. It's
Dude,
done.
Denver's kind of loaded, too.
And Denver's
deep, and with Jamal Murray playing like this, you can't fuck
Dude,
with
Jamal
them.
Murray and
This
MPJ.
might finally be the year.
Fucking, what's his name? Aaron Gordon dropped like 20 or 30.
KCP went stupid the other night too.
KCP was okay.
Yeah, dude,
I think
they're
he shot
deep.
like,
Okay, but for KCP,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
when you have a role player who's not really that great playing that well when you need him most in the playoffs,
I
that's
guess,
important.
yeah, that's true.
That's important.
Yeah, it's important. It's important for your whole team to be rolling in. Yeah,
And
Phoenix
Denver
is kind of.
is. Now, yeah, so you said it is going to Phoenix. It could completely flip. It
Yeah.
could completely flip, but
Not looking good.
not looking good for Phoenix right now.
I don't feel very confident about it. Phoenix is a team built of superstars, and the Nuggets are a team built of role players, essentially built around their superstars. Like, we have the name and the flash, but I don't know if we have the depth to be able to get it done in a series where
Phoenix
the Nuggets
doesn't have a bench.
The Nuggets have already gone up 2, and we haven't been able to steal a game.
Used to, yeah. They used to.
They used-
Honestly, and I know one of our questions for NBA is in regards to the Kevin Durant trade, but where do we think Phoenix would be at right now if they didn't make the Kevin Durant trade? In all honesty,
Yeah, I mean,
Shout out
Mikal
Blake
Bridges
and go ahead
Cam,
and if you want to read out Blake Elliott's question, we might as well
He said,
since we're
was the
getting onto
KD
it.
trade worth it for the Suns?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was.
I don't think
honestly, right now, I don't think it was. Now, when they have a full
Yeah, if they win
offseason
the
with him,
championship, I mean, they could still do it.
yeah.
But
If they win the championship, then all they got to do is win one. But I think right now it's looking like it's not. If once they get a full offseason under their belt and they're able to rebuild that roster, rebuild that bench, then I think it'll be more fair to say if the trade or not was worth it. Right now, KD hasn't even played half a season with this yet. So it's like, can you say it was worth it? Obviously, the hype around it, you think, oh, Phoenix is going to win the championship this year. But everybody in the NBA is good.
Yeah.
Like this isn't 4 or 5 years ago where it was Bron versus Warriors or whoever was the best team assembled versus Bron, or Warriors versus whoever made it out of the East because Bron went to the West. You know what I mean? Like everybody in the NBA, I feel like right now is very evenly stacked.
Yeah.
So I think Phoenix is going to need a full offseason, a full season with Kevin Durant to really sit here and say, was the trade worth it?
I just feel like Kevin Durant sometimes he doesn't play to his potential. Like he's not really a top 10, top 15 player all the time. Like,
whoa.
I don't know, dude. Sometimes he plays like,
I mean, he had a bad game last game. Yeah, he didn't have the best game.
He struggles sometimes to take over. And that's why you're seeing Devin Booker.
Book is the one that's been taking over.
That's what I've been kind of waiting for, though. And that I am curious if we see Book play point guard now moving forward, I wonder if that's going to open it up more for Kevin Durant to maybe take over more than what we were hoping to see from him.
I mean, he struggled to take over in Brooklyn, especially in those important games to close out against the Bucks last year.
Well, yeah, Kyrie's a ball dominant player. It's not going to be something that's going to be.
But still, I mean, when he's taking those shots, he was missing a lot of those shots, like in clutch moments against the Bucks.
Yeah,
that's really
funny. 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago, but that's funny you say that. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
I know the trade rumors are already starting
talking about
KD, DeAndre Ayton for Kyrie.
Yeah, for Kyrie.
Kyrie's going to LA.
Rumors are being started by Arizona. They're talking about how that's a possible trade.
Oof. That'd be crazy.
Because, I mean, in my opinion, I think...
Yeah, that might be worth it, though. I feel like DA's kind of dog shit sometimes.
Oh, he's got such a low motor.
Yeah.
He's inconsistent, but when he's on, he's good.
I think that's what Dallas needs. I don't think they need another point guard or like another like flashy player like Luka. I think they need a big man for Luka. My opinion.
Who do they have? Porzingis?
No, he's on Washington now.
Fuck, who's their big man?
Powell?
I don't even know. They're not in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but neither is Memphis.
I love that.
I know you love that.
Oh my god, dude, it's the best.
But yeah,
I love seeing all these Dylan Brooks tweets and everything. Just I don't know how you could say he doesn't regret his comments, bro. He fucking he wouldn't face the media.
I respect it.
No, he wouldn't face the media, bro.
I respect it.
He's so bitch made
for that. He's a competitor. I respect it. You know, obviously, because he would look dumb if he got up there and was like, I regret it. I regret it. You know, I regret talking shit to LeBron.
But he wouldn't talk to the media. I mean, that kind of speaks volumes.
No, that to me is
him and Ja. Honestly,
that's BS. But dude, the NBA needs players like that. That's what makes a playoffs exciting. That's what makes sports exciting.
Yeah, I guess, but still, it's kind of bitch
because
made
Memphis and the Warriors
to be talking all that game and then like not show up to media. That's soft.
That is bitch made for sure. But the NBA is dramatic. That is what makes the NBA the NBA. It's a dramatic sport. It's a dramatic league. It's
dramatic.
That's just what they needed. But Phoenix definitely is in trouble, hoping that they can turn things around by Friday, because I don't want to see a sweep. But the next playoff series, which I know we also have a question in regards to, I think could potentially be the best one we've seen. A lot of outlandish, ignorant takes being put out there on the internet because of this. But
yeah, let's talk about it. Steven Leseski, he wants to know, the boy, LeBron wins the finals this year. Do you see him retiring? Absolutely not. But the Lakers do lead the series right now, 1-0. Game 2 is tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Game 1 was electric.
Game 1 was fucking fire, bro. This series is gonna end up being a banger.
Dude,
I hope.
That game was so
My biggest worry with this with this series is that I hope the Lakers don't get out to like a 2-0 lead and
get comfortable.
Because if here's the thing, the Lakers, to answer Steven's question, no, I don't think LeBron will retire. I don't want to say I think he'll kind of take a back seat a little bit, but like at that point, I feel like he's kind of showing his age. I think in this playoffs this year, he's not as dominant. and he's not taking over games as much. I also think AD is finally showing up and being the player that Los Angeles has been wanting
Depends
him to
on
be.
the night.
But
yeah, it just depends on. I mean, that's what's going to dictate this series is AD's motor. I mean,
sorry, go
whenever.
ahead.
I mean, you see whenever he's forcing and he's just not. He's not hitting. He starts to force the ball too much, and then he gets tired and like he's not doing as much of his job on defense, and that's where the last half of the Memphis series and this game 1, his defensive presence has completely changed the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had what 30 blocks or something to this point.
He has.
Yeah, he's been going.
I mean, dude, he's going insane
last
on
game he had
defense, and so
30
as long as he
points.
keeps that motor where he's not trying to push too hard and create shit and then like tire himself out doing that, I feel like if he just stays and literally just play your fucking size.
What I like about this series too is it's really the battle of old school versus new school in terms of play style.
Yeah, for
Lakers
sure.
love to attack the basket, and the Warriors, as we obviously know, love to shoot the 3-point.
Well,
So
the Warriors are dangerous though because they
they're
get
very
hot
dangerous. They get
really
hot. That's
quick.
what happened.
They
the
had
last-
experience
in spurts.
too.
and it's AD literally pointed that out in his post game interview. He literally said how next game they have to watch film and figure out how to not get the Warriors to go on that run the last 4 minutes
Troy
of the game.
Brown covering Klay Thompson was just a mess.
Vanderbilt locked down.
Yeah, Vanderbilt
as
did
well.
so good.
Lakers did what they needed to do early, which is good for them, and that was to win at least one of these 2 games here in Golden State to keep themselves alive in this series. And I think what I love most about this is the Lakers are honestly showing that, one, Pelinka saved his job at the trade deadline.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This team that he assembled is night and day different than what they had.
They
at
had the best
starting.
record after the break.
Yeah, since the break.
They night and day different team, and it obviously it makes you wonder like what this team could be like next year, what this team would have been like with this roster at the beginning of the year, what they have struggled to get into the playoffs, because they're playing. That's what I hate about the NBA playoffs is people expect, yes, we have the Nuggets up 2-0, first round of the playoffs. Obviously, we see 2 series that were sweeps. Now we're at the point where these are the teams that these are the really, really good basketball teams. These are the teams that should and deserve to be here. I mean, we got an 8 seed and a 7 seed in the semifinals right now, who both are playing lights out, who are both playing better basketball than you could argue a couple teams who are higher seeds, like New York, for example, like Phoenix, who's a 4 seed. Because it's when you see basketball at its best. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. No doubt. Yeah, no. It's going to be a great series, and honestly, NBA playoffs have been fantastic. I know I'm always texting Spencer during the games, especially when it's crunch time, because he does. Have you noticed Spencer never says a word when the game's on? You never hear from him.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. But
You know he's sweating. I always see shit happen, and I'm like, oh, Spencer's fucking clinched right now.
yep, NBA playoffs have been fun. NFL draft was fun. We still got a couple great weeks of basketball ahead of us.
Who do you guys got? Early predictions, finals. Who's got it?
Ooh, finals. Early prediction. I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Nuggets, Sixers, depending on Embiid's health, but I want to say Celtics. %. Yeah, either way, I said Nuggets in the beginning of the year when we first talked about basketball. I think it's Nuggets. I think they got it this year. Maybe not, but I think they go from the West.
I want the Lakers, but I don't think so. I really want them to, but I'm going to look right in the camera when I say this. Thinking Nuggets, Miami finals, baby.
Miami would be dope.
Just because I want to see Butler get a ring so bad.
Butler been going crazy.
It's kind of funny. I feel like. Mm-hmm. Mm.
The toss.
Already counting out the Knicks.
The East is a toss, bro.
I was just gonna say it's funny how the East is almost kind of like you don't know who's gonna come out of that. Where right now it looks like Denver is the clear favorite in the West. Where usually the East has the clear favorite because of obviously Bron for so long, and the West was always kind of a toss up. Oh, 100%. Either anybody in the West. I think we just know too much about this Suns Nuggets series right now. We don't know enough about the Lakers Warriors because we've only seen the one game. We've seen the 2 games from the Nuggets, and that game one was insane. We've seen both. We've seen both games from the Nuggets. The Nuggets-Sun series, we've seen both games, and they both honestly the Nuggets have pretty much blown out Phoenix in both games. We haven't seen enough from this Lakers-Warriors game. I think next week when we revisit the playoffs, obviously we'll know more, and we'll have different opinions, and we'll have different insight on it. But, yeah, right now, Denver is a clear favorite, I think, to come out of the West. But anybody could win this Warriors-Lakers series. Whoever wins that series, I think, has a really, really good chance of going to the finals.
Against your team. I respect it.
Not me, baby. Pittsburgh's winning the Super Bowl this year. Well, and obviously, I think playing Golden State. Yeah. Looney. Yeah. He's getting 20 boards a game too, which helps. But, yeah. But and Draymond's not big. They don't have anybody big enough. Looney's big enough to cover AD, but he's not fast enough. And Draymond might be fast enough, but he's not big enough. So that's the thing that I think. Yeah. Golden State is definitely a lot smaller of a team compared to the Lakers, but you always got to be worried when you play Golden State. Yeah, could be. Honestly, it's going to go either way. Could go either way. Very excited to watch all these playoff games. Spence, anything you want to tell the people before we sign off? Oh, I mean, you're nervous regardless. You know what I mean? Incredible. This is also only their 5th. I guess it makes sense, but it's the 5th series they've played against each other. I don't know why it seems like they've played like 12. Yeah, dude, I saw that on ESPN a couple days ago. That stat is such a stretch. Did you see it showed the players with the best records against LeBron? No, Kawhi wasn't even on there. It was Steph at 23 and 18, and then overall it was Steph at 23 and 18. Draymond and Clay were both 23 and 15, and then I don't remember the records, but the other two were Tim Duncan and Ginobili. Teams, two players that all were a part of dynasty teams. You know what I mean? Like, and those are all teams that they try and. Curry specifically is somebody who they always try and say is better than Bron, but literally the 3 of the 5 best players with records against him, they're all on the same team, which I feel like almost kind of invalidates that argument that Curry's better than Bron because they have the same amount of wins. Curry has more losses against Bron than Clay and Draymond does. Obviously, that's probably because of they miss games or injuries, things like that, but you get my point. It's like, I just feel like it's dumb when people try to be like, oh, well, Steph is way better than Bron, but literally 3 of the 5 players with the best records against him are a part of the same team who've been playing with each other for the longest amount of time. So it's like,
yeah, Braun's in a league of his own, buddy.
Murph, anything you'd like to tell the people or anything you think we should cover before we sign off for the night?
Wow, I just saved myself $150. Nice. That's about it for me.
All right. Well, thank you, Murph. Thank you, Spence. Thank you all at home for tuning in to another episode of Sideline Banter. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us at _Sideline Banter on Instagram and Twitter. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe. Hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube at Sideline Banter. New episodes every Thursday at 8 a.m. Thank you guys for listening to us. As always, enjoy the NBA playoffs. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.